God says, listen closely, my beloved soul, because this moment did not arrive by accident. There are seasons when truth waits patiently, not because it is hidden, but because the heart needs time to become ready. You are standing in such a season now. What is being revealed to you today has been forming quietly, steadily, beneath the surface of your everyday life. You may not have noticed it clearly, but something within you has been shifting for a while, rearranging priorities, softening old fears, and strengthening your sense of direction. This message comes with calm certainty, not urgency. It speaks to the part of you that has felt change approaching without being able to name it. God says, powerful change does not always announce itself loudly. Often it begins as a subtle inner adjustment, a new way of seeing yourself, a growing patience, a quiet confidence that no longer needs approval. These are the first signs that alignment is taking place. As you stay with these words, allow yourself to slow down internally. There is no need to rush ahead to outcomes or results. What matters right now is awareness. You are becoming more aware of what drains you and what restores you. You are learning when to hold on and when to release. These realizations are not random thoughts. They are signals that your life is reorganizing itself around a truer version of who you are. God says, there were times when you felt uncertain, when progress seemed invisible, when effort did not immediately return results. Those moments were not empty. They were preparing you to recognize stability when it arrived. You are now more capable of holding growth without fear, success without losing humility, peace without questioning its permanence. That readiness is why this message reaches you now. Notice how your inner dialogue has begun to change. You question yourself less harshly. You trust your instincts more readily. You no longer feel the same urgency to compare your path with others. These are not small developments. They are signs of maturity settling in, of self-trust quietly taking root. God says, when this inner foundation strengthens, outer change follows naturally. This part of the message invites you to acknowledge what has already shifted instead of waiting for dramatic proof. Your resilience has deepened. Your discernment has sharpened. Your capacity to remain steady during uncertainty has grown. These qualities are already shaping the next chapter of your life, even if the details have not yet fully appeared. Powerful change does not disrupt everything at once. It integrates gently. It replaces confusion with clarity, tension with balance, reaction with intention. God says, what is unfolding now is meant to support you, not overwhelm you. It is designed to fit the life you are building, not pull you away from it. Stay present with this awareness. Let it settle without analysis. The message is continuing, and what follows will help you recognize how these inner shifts begin to express themselves outwardly, guiding you forward with steadiness, confidence, and a sense of being quietly supported every step of the way. The message continues by inviting you to notice the subtle confirmations already surrounding you. God says, change does not arrive only through visible events. It often arrives through a deepening sense of coherence inside you, a feeling that your thoughts, emotions, and choices are beginning to move in the same direction. You may have felt moments of calm clarity appear without effort, brief pauses where answers felt closer, or an easing of inner resistance that once felt constant. These are not coincidences. They are signs that alignment has been quietly establishing itself. There were periods when you questioned whether progress was happening at all, when days blended together and outcomes felt distant. God says, those periods were not stagnant. They were incubators. Within them, your values clarified, your patience expanded, and your discernment refined. You were learning what truly matters to you, not through instruction, but through experience. That learning is now shaping how you respond to life, making your choices steadier and your reactions softer. As you remain with this message, you may recognize that your relationship with effort has changed. You no longer push in the same way. You act with intention rather than urgency. You pause to sense whether something aligns before committing your energy. This is not hesitation. It is wisdom. God says, when wisdom leads, progress becomes sustainable rather than exhausting. The unfolding change is also reflected in how you relate to others. You listen more carefully. You speak with greater precision. You allow space for differences without feeling threatened. These shifts protect your peace while deepening genuine connection. You are no longer trying to be understood by everyone, you are becoming more honest with yourself. That honesty creates a quiet authority that others sense even if they cannot name it. God says, there is power in the way you are learning to trust timing. You no longer interpret waiting as loss. You recognize it as preparation. You understand that some things require inner readiness before outer movement can feel right. This understanding removes pressure and replaces it with confidence. You begin to move when it is time, not because of expectation, but because clarity has arrived. Notice how your inner world feels less crowded. Old worries no longer demand constant attention. You can hold uncertainty without anxiety. You can move forward without needing every detail resolved. This spaciousness is not emptiness. It is capacity. It allows new possibilities to enter without competing with unresolved tension. God says, this is the environment where meaningful change thrives. The message affirms that what is unfolding is not meant to disrupt your life but to integrate with it. Your routines may remain familiar, yet your experience within them is shifting. You approach tasks with steadier focus. You engage challenges with calmer resolve. You rest without guilt. These changes accumulate quietly, reshaping your days in ways that feel natural rather than forced. God says, powerful change respects your pace. It does not require dramatic declarations. It reveals itself through consistency, through small decisions repeated with clarity. You are already participating in this process. Each time you choose alignment over impulse, understanding over assumption, presence over distraction, you reinforce what is unfolding. Stay with this awareness. Let it deepen without rushing to conclusions. The message continues to open, and what follows will help you recognize how these inner adjustments begin to invite new experiences that mirror your growth, bringing steadiness, meaning, and a sense of rightness to the path ahead. The message now moves deeper, into the place where change is no longer something you are waiting for, but something you are already living inside. God says, there is a reason you feel different even when your surroundings look the same. Something within you has crossed a threshold. You are no longer responding to life from the same inner posture. You are more centered, more aware, more honest with yourself about what you need and what you no longer want to carry. This shift did not happen suddenly. It arrived through reflection, patience, and quiet endurance. There were moments when you felt pulled inward, when noise felt heavier than usual and solitude felt necessary. God says, those moments were not withdrawal. They were recalibration. You were learning how to listen beneath the surface of your thoughts, how to distinguish between pressure and guidance, how to recognize when something felt right without needing external approval. That inner listening has now become clearer, steadier, and more reliable. As you sit with this message, notice how your emotional responses have softened without losing depth. You still care deeply, but you are no longer consumed by every fluctuation. You observe before reacting. You feel without drowning. God says, this balance is a sign of emotional alignment. It means your inner world is becoming a place of stability rather than constant motion. You may begin to recognize that some struggles have simply faded, not because they were solved forcefully, but because they lost relevance. What once demanded your attention no longer holds the same weight. You are not suppressing anything. You are outgrowing it. God says, growth often feels like quiet relief rather than dramatic change. It feels like space returning where tension once lived. This part of the message also acknowledges the way your sense of self has matured. You no longer define yourself by comparison or expectation. You are less interested in proving and more interested in being. This shift brings a natural confidence, one that does not need validation. It allows you to move through conversations, decisions, and challenges with a grounded presence that others can feel. God says, powerful change shows itself in how you treat yourself when no one is watching. You speak more gently to yourself. You allow rest without guilt. You give yourself permission to pause, to reconsider, to change direction if something no longer aligns. These are not signs of uncertainty. They are signs of self-trust. Notice how your intuition now feels less urgent and more precise. It does not rush you. It guides you calmly. It nudges rather than pushes. This is because your inner environment has become quieter. When there is less noise inside, guidance does not need to shout. God says, trust this quiet clarity. It has been cultivated carefully. There is also a sense of readiness emerging, not the restless kind that demands immediate action, but a steady openness to what comes next. You are no longer chasing outcomes. You are allowing alignment. This does not slow your life. It makes it more intentional. Each step begins to feel connected rather than scattered. As this message continues, you are being reminded that what is unfolding does not require effort to maintain. It requires awareness. You do not need to hold everything together. Things are beginning to organize themselves around who you are becoming. This is what alignment feels like when it settles deeply. Stay with this awareness. Let it anchor you. The message is nearing completion, and what comes next will help you understand how this inner transformation begins to express itself outwardly, shaping experiences that feel supportive, meaningful, and naturally aligned with the life you are stepping into. The message now comes to rest, not as an ending, but as a quiet confirmation of everything you have already sensed within yourself. God says, when change has truly begun to integrate, it no longer feels like movement you must track or manage. It feels like stability. It feels like standing on ground that no longer shifts beneath your feet. You are reaching that place now, where growth no longer asks for constant effort, and awareness becomes your natural state. There was a time when you searched for signs everywhere, when you tried to interpret every pause and every delay. God says, you no longer need to do that. The signs have moved inside you. They show themselves through peace that stays even when circumstances are uncertain, through confidence that does not depend on reassurance, through clarity that appears without struggle. This is how you know that what is unfolding is real and lasting. As you remain with this message, you may feel a gentle sense of completion around certain inner questions. Not every answer has arrived, but the urgency has dissolved. You trust that what you need will meet you when you are ready, not before and not after. God says, this trust is not blind. It is informed by everything you have already walked through and survived with your integrity intact. You may notice that your attention is naturally shifting toward what feels meaningful rather than what feels urgent. You choose depth over distraction. You value sincerity over performance. You allow moments of silence to exist without filling them. These choices are subtle, but they are powerful. They shape a life that feels aligned rather than reactive. God says, the changes unfolding in your life are not asking you to become someone new. They are allowing you to live more fully as who you already are. You are shedding roles that no longer fit, expectations that no longer resonate, and habits that once protected you but are no longer needed. This release is not loss. It is refinement. Notice how your body responds when you think about the path ahead. There is less tension. There is a quiet openness. That is your confirmation. Alignment does not create pressure. It creates space. It allows you to move forward without bracing yourself. It allows you to receive without suspicion. God says, you are safe to trust this feeling. The message completes itself by reminding you that you are not meant to rush into the next chapter. You are meant to arrive in it fully present. Let the changes continue to integrate naturally. Let your actions reflect your clarity. Let your pace honor your peace. God says, powerful change is not something you chase. It is something you recognize when you are ready to live it. You are there now. As you step away from this message, carry its tone with you. Let it guide your choices quietly. Let it remind you that you are supported, aligned, and moving forward with steadiness. This is not a turning point you need to announce. It is one you will feel, consistently, in the way your days begin to flow with greater ease, purpose, and quiet confidence. And that is how you know the message has reached you at exactly the right time. If this message resonated with your soul, don't forget to like and share so this divine energy reaches more hearts. Subscribe now for daily spiritual messages and comment, Amen, to affirm your faith and blessings.